In this video, we will describe market equilibrium. So for this, we need the information about inverse demand, let's say the inverse demand given to us is price equal to 30 minus 2Q. I am using uppercase P for price, uppercase Q for quantity, and we are also given inverse supply. Price is equal to Q. This formulation, this description of demand and supply in terms of inverse demand and inverse supply is helpful in drawing graphs. But we could also write down the demand as well as the supply. So let me do this here. I will like you to verify whether the inverse demand P equal to 30 minus 2Q relates exactly in the same way to quantity equal to 15 minus 0.5P, in the way that P equal to 30 minus 2Q is equivalent to Q equal to 15 minus 0.5P. And then we will also write down in this supply, which is straightforward in this situation, Q equal to P. Okay, given this, we need to find out the market equilibrium, and market equilibrium is the price quantity pair such that given the price, given the equilibrium price, the quantity demanded is exactly equal to the quantity supplied, or the price such that at that price the quantity demanded and quantity supplied are exactly same. So for finding out the market equilibrium, at market equilibrium, we could notice we are looking for a quantity such that the price from the inverse demand function at that quantity is exactly equal to the price from the inverse supply. So let's write it this way: price equal to 30 minus 2Q, this is the price obtained from the inverse demand, is equal to the quantity, which is the price obtained from the inverse supply. So this gives us a relationship between quantity demanded on the left and the quantity supplied on the right, so both of which leading to the identical price. So this is one equation in one unknown, and we should be able to solve. So let's see. I have 30 minus 2Q equal to Q. I will like to keep all the unknowns on the left hand side and the constants on the right hand side. We have only one unknown. So first let's move the Q on the right hand side to the left. So I have now 30 minus 3Q equal to 0. Now I will move the constant from the left to the right. So now I got 30 and 30 cancel out. Minus 3Q equal to minus 30. I will divide both sides by negative 3 to obtain Q on the left, and minus 30 over minus 3 is 10. So let's say quantity is 10. Assume the unit for quantity to be in pounds. Given this quantity, now we can go back to find out the equilibrium price, and for that we can use both, either of the two, either the inverse demand or the inverse supply. Given the inverse supply function, we would prefer to use that. It requires less amount of calculation. Inverse supply is P equal to Q I know Q is 10, so price is $10 per unit. And so this is the market equilibrium. We will denote it with notation of star. So price is $10 per pound, quantity is 10 pounds, is the market equilibrium. We can show this in a graph. So let's now draw the inverse demand and inverse supply. So a price on the vertical, quantity on the horizontal. Price is dollars per pound, quantity is in the units of pound. I know the price is 30 minus 2Q. So the vertical intercept would be 30, the horizontal intercept would be 15, and that's the demand function. It should be a straight line. And then we have price, this is the demand or the inverse demand. I will denote it by D, and the supply, 0 vertical intercept, slope is 1, that's the supply. And if we have drawn this graph to the scale, we would notice that the price and quantity pair, price quantity equal to 10 and price equal to 10 would turn out to be the equilibrium outcome. Given this market equilibrium, we can find out consumer surplus, which is the area of the triangle here, and then the producer surplus, which is the area of the triangle below. So let's do this computation. We want to find out the consumer surplus. Area of the triangle is 1/2 times base, which is 10, times height, 30 minus 10. So 1/2 times 10 times 20 turns out to be 100. Producer surplus, same formula, 1/2 times base, which is 10. The height is 10 minus 0, which is 10. So 10 times 10, 1/2 10 times 10, that turns out to be 50. Sum of the two is known as the total surplus. So consumer surplus plus producer surplus is 100 plus 50, 150. That's the total surplus. We also know that if the market is not at equilibrium, which means if price is different from $10 per unit, then it could lead to either a situation of shortage or a surplus. So let's take price which is higher than the equilibrium. So let's say if price P is, instead of being $10, let's say $12 per pound. We will find out the quantity demanded and quantity supplied, and we will see that they are not equal. So now it is convenient to use the demand function rather than the inverse demand function. And if you remember, we had already written down the demand is Q equal to 15 minus P over 2. So that's the demand. I will write QD as quantity demanded, 15 minus 12 over 2, 15 minus 6 turns out to be 9 units, 9 pounds. Quantity supplied, QS, is equal to the price, 12 pounds. So now you could see quantity demanded is 9, quantity supplied is 12. So we have a surplus, which is quantity supplied minus quantity demanded. Quantity supplied is 12, demanded is 9, 3 pounds. So if price is above the equilibrium, we have a situation of surplus, and surplus is exactly 3 pounds here. Next, suppose price is below the equilibrium. So if price P is, let's say, $6 per pound, we will find out again the quantity demanded, 15 minus P over 2, 15 minus 6 over 2 minus 3, 12 pounds. Quantity supplied equal to P, so 6 pounds. So quantity supplied is 6 pounds, quantity demanded is 12 pounds, so we have a shortage. Quantity demanded minus quantity supplied. So here I would like to assign an exercise based on this video. Take price to be, instead of $12, let's say $14 per pound. Find out what is the surplus or shortage. And then that's first exercise. The second one, take price to be $9 per pound, and again find the same, whether it will lead to a situation of surplus or shortage, and what would be the quantity. And this is a good point to stop.